And next we have Kyle, who's going to do a short story. Round of applause, please.
Alright, as some of you know, I come from Ohio State Lima, and they have a creative writing group there. And a couple weeks ago, their exercise was to create some sort of prose using the words dream, Elmo, slate, Meyer is in the store, run, cookie, and building. I actually had quite a bit of fun with this, and here's my story called Meyer's Dream. My name is Jared Meyer. I am a postal worker. Every day I walk the streets with a sense of superiority unmatched by all except, perhaps, a few suicidal patients at the local psych ward, 2 crotchety geezers playing chess in the park, and that one old lady's miniature poodle that bit me last week. You see, I deliver the mail. People don't get their bills or collection notices without me to deliver them. People don't get the birthday cards with $10 bills pressed firmly inside, crisp and appearing brand new thanks to having sat there since last year, so the sender wouldn't forget about them. If these pieces of transportable literature aren't delivered by me, then the only other way is through the electronic communication system of online, and who wants to do that? They call me Cookie because I've got the same sarcastic edge as that one game show host from You Don't Know Jack. It gets me in trouble sometimes, and believe me when I say that yes, I understand that screwing goes 2 ways. If you've never seen the show or played the games, then I'll tell you this. When you're faced with a difficult situation that suddenly becomes barely decipherable itself, and then told to answer it, the spotlight burning its way through you, then you know you've been screwed. I tell you this because that damn poodle's got the same damn name. Poetic irony, I think. I digress. As I said before, I'm as proud of what I do as I can be, and making my rounds with my satchel, not even important enough to spare my legs with a truck, really gets me thinking, what am I doing? This train of thought led to one particularly depressing night. I made it home to a note from my wife saying she would be out of town for a few days. I thought to myself, this would have been nice to know ahead of time. I suppose she had a reason. She was a decent woman, for a badger, and held up her end of the bargain. She was a good, strong woman, with her hard nose, hard eyes, and hard heart. I never worried about accidentally saying the wrong thing and upsetting her. She was always upset, and I was always wrong. My kind of bargain. After cooking myself a meager yet satisfying dinner, I washed and went to bed early. Nothing worth staying up for was a great way to entertain the idea that the early bird catches the worm. Little did I know what dream awaited me. I awoke, it seemed, from a deep sleep. I was lying down on a cot inside some large warehouse-style building, much like any commonplace bulk goods stores you can find around the larger towns and in cities. As I stood up, my naked feet chilled at the touch of the cold slate floor. All around me on the shelves and around the various tools, toys, and foodstuffs, pieces of mail were stuffed in nooks and crannies, placed in stacks high above my head, and stamps covered everything. In my head, I heard my wife's darling, Cookie love. Didn't you say you would wash the dishes? And a distant high-pitched barking. I started walking down the aisles listlessly, not sure what I had come here for, or what it was that I planned on purchasing in this desolate store, void of people yet packed with words. I was used to being surrounded by mail. It was my profession, after all. And after about an hour or so of hearing nothing but my own footsteps, I admit I began to break protocol and started opening letters. I was curious because all of these letters were addressed to the same place. I assumed they were where they were intended to go, because postmen always deliver their mail properly. This one looks interesting. Dear John Johnny, look behind you. It seemed to speak to me in a way, though I had no idea who John was. I stalled a moment reading over the cover, ensuring that it was properly addressed and stamped with adequate postage. A fine piece of mail I concluded, and continued walking forward to another piece of mail that caught my eye. Dear Paul Peterson, you should really look behind you. Awkward. The first time I ever abandoned my ethics, I was privileged to read the dullest of letters I could imagine. The strangeness of it prompted me to glance about myself, as if the feeling of guilt had somehow manifested itself somewhere and was watching me. That's when I saw it. One of the shelves had a pile of disorganized envelopes at its base, as something had erupted from its place. I let my eyes follow a trail of postage, my gaze lowering until I rested upon the surface. There were 2 eyes gazing from a mass of fire-red fur as a smiling children's toy, a tickle-me elbow, glared at me, holding a piece of mail in one hand. Its movements were lifelike and didn't agree with the mechanics I knew to be behind such a thing, and yet its laughter was exactly as penetratingly irritating as those commercials had portrayed it. My wife's nagging seemed to get louder in my head, and that damn dog was coming closer, barking its contempt at my existence. I began to run as fast as I could away from this little hellion of a toy. I slid down the aisles on loose paper and other debris as the shelves shook with the thing's insidious laugh. Cookie, cookie love repeated in my head as I took a spill and upended myself, face first in a pile of print. The laugh came too close for comfort, and as I looked behind me, a wicked swipe twisted my head around. My body followed it, and as I laid there prone on my back, I glanced at the assailant's weapon. That piece of man was bloody beyond recognition, and anything inside would be barely legible, and only if. That really didn't matter now. The damage was done, and my face was yet bleeding from perhaps the largest paper cut I've ever known. My training didn't cover this. Sadly, all I wanted to do was shut the damn dog up so I could die in peace and with some dignity. As my vision blurred, I realized that the demonic creature had left itself vulnerable in its pompous laughter. I took the opportunity to draw from my satchel because, though it was unimportant to mention before, trust that a good postal worker never leaves his satchel too far off. 2 stamps, and promptly placed them over my assailant's eyes. I stood up, laughing myself now, and rallied the strength left in me. I was prepared to finally claim the respect I deserved, and I would take it from this evil, red-haired menace with a well-caned kick. I straightened myself, brought back my leg, and looked at the space between the thing's lead where my foot would connect, sending the thing airborne. But that's when I woke up. Thank you.
And next up we have Errol Lamb. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Kind of missed you guys last week, but I saw it on YouTube, so I enjoyed it. Today I'm going to just talk about 2 things. Number 1 and then number 2. Some of you were here a couple of weeks ago when I came here and I showed you the banners back of me. Some of you there, right? All right, since then, this is what has happened. I've told a lot of people. I've told some classes. I've told you. I kind of told other people. Basically, I told the BG News. I told the Union Advisory Committee of this union, 4 faculty, 2 or 4 staff, 2 students. No reply. Nothing? No reply. 2-3 weeks now. I guess I don't exist. Nobody replied to me. So one group I told was the Ethnic Students Committee, and one student took action. He wrote and he found out and he got a reply. He basically told them that it was not cool, that this was not a diverse banner, right? And basically I'll read to you what the communications and marketing people of this university have replied, all right? So I want to share this with you. This is what she said. Thank you for writing to me. You know, that's a standard opening. You have to thank people for writing to you. Your point is well taken. Marketing and communications is in the process of revising the banners to match the current marketing strategies. Additional representation for diversity is part of the strategy. You should be seeing the new banners in the next 4 to 8 weeks. Thank you for taking the time to write to me. Now, 4 to 8 weeks, right? I looked it up, I looked at my calendar, and 4 weeks from now is probably around Thanksgiving, right? You know, you probably got the same calendar I do. 8 weeks is probably just before Christmas, right? Now let's see what may happen, or what will happen, or what will not happen, right? This is the official word from the university. There's more to the story than that, but this is what I wanted to share with you. I found out that these banners have been up for 3 years. 3 years. Thousands of eyes have seen it and not done anything about it. something may be done soon. We will see. This is Bowling Green State University, and these are the promises that they give to us. All right? So let's see. Stay with me, and I'll bring a report. You can complain if you want to too, you know.